Hello, good morning students. We are Sonu sir with a new video of class 7th English. And students, in that today we are taking chapter 6 and the name of chapter 6 is Maroon on an Island. And students, in that we see Maroon on an Island. In that we see it is a story of a family which they had and they left and they missed or stranded or trapped in an island, and how they survived there, how their adventurous life was there, and how they made alive themselves. This story is about all that. And students, in previous video we have been discussed up to page number 43. Two paras are left without except we have been studied. So students, I am taking from there. So before I start this video, some words we have and which are going to come on in your course books study. First word, as we know, maroon means helpless. They were trapped and helpless on island. Capering, one word is going to come. Capering means jumping and dancing. And there is another word, fatiguing. Fatiguing means thakane wala, tiring. And inaccessible means jahan pahuncha na ja sake, where we can't reach easily. That is inaccessible, impossible to reach. And precipitous, that means dangerously high or steep, very high place, that is precipitous. Not easy to climb there. And hatchet means a small axe with a short handle. Choti kulhari. So, a small axe, short handle. So, it's now going to start reading of this chapter, and in that we have been completed. Two paras are left of page 43, and I am starting second last para, 43th page, and that is: at the mention of an excursion, the four children were wild with delight and capering around me, clapped their hands for joy. So, what is excursion, students? We have been studied in earlier video that excursion means a visit, a trip, or sair. A visit, a trip. And in that, student, while his sons, while they heard that things that we are going for a trip or visit, they were wild in excitement. Here wild is for happiness. So at the mention of an excursion, the four children were wild with delight. So they were excited with happiness. Delight means happiness. And capering around me. What is capering? They started jumping and dancing around John, their father. And students clapped their hands for joy. So, as you know, children are normally used to go for visit and trip nearby their homes, and usually they become happy by when they go anywhere with someone. So if there is any news of any visit or trip, children usually became very happy. So, and they started clapping their hands in joy and happiness. But because they were on island, so father was realizing that he can take only one son of him, elder son of him, except him. They had to live with mother to help her or to survive them. Only big, elder son and father has to go. So they decided. So steady there, steady, said I. So father said, attention, okay, stand on attention and listen to me. You cannot expect all to go. You all not cannot go. You all cannot expect to go. Someone has or have to live here. So you cannot go expect all to go. Such an expedition as this would be too dangerous and fatiguing for your younger ones, for you younger ones. So students, father explained and suggested to younger sons or his younger sons that it would be fatiguing, that means tiring, trip, that would be very fatiguing trip, and you should not have to go. You should have to be stay at home to help your mother. So, and also that excursion and that visit should be dangerous because some wild animals can be there, or anyway it can be dangerous. So to younger ones it was suggestion that you all will be stayed with mother and we shall go. Myself means father and his elder son will go. So Fritz and I will go alone this time. So Fritz is elder son of him, so he decided to go with his elder son Fritz, and with one of the dogs, leaving the other to defend him. So with one dog, they had two dogs also, and a cock. We have heard a vigilant cock in previous video. Except that, beside that, they had two dogs also. So they decided to carry or take one dog with them, or they decided to left one dog with family and other younger sons and mother to stay there safely. So Steady said, you cannot expect all to go. Such an expedition as this would be too dangerous and fatiguing for you younger ones. Fritz and I will go alone this time with one of the dogs, leaving the other to defend you. So father and his elder son Fritz decided to go for visit, to observe some things which are of use of them in that harsh situation of desert island, and to make some food also. So they decided to go only with father and son and a dog, because way is dangerous for younger ones. So they decided to left younger ones with mother to stay home safely. So they decided to move, and then we then armed ourselves, each taking a gun and a game bag. So they armed themselves. Armed means they took some weapons or arms. Okay? हथियारों से लैस हुआ. If you see the Hindi meaning of arm, that means हथियारों से लैस. So they armed themselves with weapons and arms, and each taking a gun and a game bag. And they had both they had a gun with game bag. What is game bag, students? Here, game bag means a bag in which that hunted animal or bird, hunted bird and animal carried out. Hunted bird. So after hunt of birds, the dead birds they used to take with them in that bag, and that bag is known as game bag. After hunt, they took birds in that bag. So Fritz, in addition, sticking a pair of pistols in his belt, and in addition, in extra weapons, Fritz, his elder son, took two pistols in his belt, and I a small hatchet in my mind, and father had a small axe. Hatchet means a small axe with a short handle, choti, and he had a small axe to go for hunt. And student, breakfast being over, we stored away the remainder of the lobster and some biscuits. So in jungle and in forest they were there, and they by heating and with heating that lobster, lobster means kekra, as in previous video we have discussed. So the main part of that lobster they had with heating eat with straw. They had in breakfast, they eaten in breakfast, they ate in breakfast, sorry, or you know, there were some biscuits also with lobster, and they also ate biscuits with a flask of water. What is flask? If you see, flask means in Hindi, patle muh ka bottle. Flask means patle muh ka bottle. So they had a flask, bottle of water, and were ready for a start. So with remained lobster, they made hot to remain lobster, and they took some biscuits and a flask of water, bottle of water, and they were ready to start their journey or their hunt or their observation of search of objects which are edible, which are useful in surviving of their lives in the forest. So students, and forwarding now, we now found that the banks of the stream were on both sides so rocky that we could get down to the water by only one narrow passage, and there was no corresponding path on the other side. So on the way they had to pass a watery and rocky area, and in which it was not easy to pass out there, and students, in that there was only one narrow passage and to go inside and beneath the rock, and only one way to go to bank of the stream, and they went there somehow, and I was glad to see this, however, for I know, so it was not easy to climb on their houses, because they had made their houses in hard situation on up of a tree, and somehow in bounded and circled with waters from all sides, and also had some rocks, some mountains that not someone can easily climb on that on their houses. So they were happy that their women family is good there and easily can be alive. So students, we now found that the banks of the stream were on the both sides so rocky that we could down to the water by only one narrow passage. So they had only one narrow passage to go down to the water, and there was no corresponding path on the other side. So on both sides there was not only path, there is not any path to go. So I was glad to see this, however, for I now knew that my wife and children were on a comparatively inaccessible spot. So after coming beneath side of the underside of that their home and their location, they realized that our home is on safe place. No outsider would come here because of inaccessibility of the spot, because it is very hard to go there. The other side of the tent being protected by steep and precipitous cliffs. So only on that spot where they were living, there were only one passage to come out from them. Otherwise, both sides there were hard and hard mountains and fleshy mountains, and somehow it is hard to climb on that or walk on that. And with that, there was some precipitous cliffs. What is precipitous? That means dangerously high or steep. So what is cliff? If you see in the Ghirao, if we making some wall, so there were some wall of wood and maybe some of other things. What very precipitous, that means dangerously high. So it was not easy to climb on that and enter to their spot. So they had a very protected place, and the other side of the tent being protected by steep and precipitous cliffs. Fritz and I pursued our way up the stream until we reached a point where the water fell from a considerable height in a cascade. Student, cascade means fountain, or in Hindi you can understand jharna. So there were a cascade, and after coming inside or lower part of their house, by reaching down, they were now on low side of a mountain where fountain, and there was a cascade of fountain which was flowing down continuously. So they reached there, and where several large rocks lay half covered by the water. So there were some rocks which were half covered by water near the cascade or fountain or jharna, you see, and where several large rocks lay half covered by the water. By means of these, we succeeded in crossing the stream in safety. So they succeeded that water, and it was inlaid in that island, so they had to cross that water to go further, excursion of that forest. So we had forced our way scarcely 50 yards through the long rank grass. So they came out there, and they had been passed at least 50 yards in their hard way, in their scarce way, and there were some long rank grasses. There were some long grasses in the way, and which was here partially withered by the sun and much tangled. And in that, passing from that long grass, the sunlight was not fully in the lower and middle part of that grass, only upper part of that grass. And students, it was also has been consideration that so we had forced our way scarcely 50 yards through the long rank grass, which was here partially withered by the sun and much tangled. And it was much tangled. Tangled means, students, if you see in Hindi or English also, tangled means confused. That means pechida. That means pechida. Hard to cross that long grass. So it was very crucial to pass out that long grass, and students, which was here partially withered by the sun and much tangled, when he heard behind us a rustling, and on looking round, saw the grass waving to and fro as if some animal were passing through it. Fritz instantly turned and brought his gun to his shoulder. So they heard the voice of passing of an animal in between that long grasses, and by hearing that, Fritz instantly called his gun and took his gun and brought his gun to his shoulder, ready to fire the moment the beast should appear. I much pleased with my son's coolness and presence of mind. So they haven't seen that exactly which animal was there, but by hearing the voices by that animal passing from that grass, Fritz, elder son, understood that there is an animal and we have to hunt. So he brought his gun on his shoulder and was ready for that beast or animal. When he come out, he will shoot it. And by seeing this, Father John was happy to see his son coolness and presence of mind. And students, for it solved me that I might thoroughly rely upon him on any future occasion when real danger might occur. And by seeing this situation, he was fully satisfied and fully understood, and somehow agreed that if there is hard situation and this type of situation would come in future, his son will left me out from that situation, hard situation. So seeing his present condition and coolness of his son and presence of mind of his son in that situation. This time, however, no savage beast rushed out, but our trusty dog Turk, whom in our anxiety at parting we had forgotten. So it was not any other beast or animal, it was their their dog named Turk. So, whom in our anxiety at parting we had forgotten. And they had forgotten him in talking and sorrow of them while passing from that jungle and forest, and talking about their sorrows and anxieties which they had passed from since past time and days. So students, and who had been sent after us doubtless by my thoughtful wife. So they had forgotten and they forgot dog which they wanted to come along with them and brought and bring with them. But his wife sent that dog with them, that in the time of harsh, in the time of problem, dog can help them. Okay students, we had concluded 43 page paras. Now we are concluding, we are on last para of page 44, and in this video we covered up to last para of page 44. Students, I am taking more and more time in these videos because it is need more explanation of chapters, and if we do fast and if we go fast, we can't fully understood the chapter. So students, it is very important that each and every word should be understood, and each and every word and each and every question and answer should be understood and explained. So that is why I am taking time, and with the time we will complete our course. There is no problem. So students, if there is any question and queries, you can ask on my WhatsApp number, and there is homework. You have to write these checkpoints, question answer of this page, and word body, and some word meaning of left of word body which is given in paras. Okay students, so till then, have a nice day. We will meet in next video. Thank you. Have a nice day again.